Hi, I'm Connor from Globe Life, American Income Division. I spoke to you about your benefits through your union. Is Mary there? Okay, great. I have your benefits here. I really love that they have me using Zoom. It makes things go a lot faster. So don't worry, I'm not going to take up much of your time. Well, let me go ahead and get started. While I get this set up, let's learn a little bit about each other. Now, I know you're dying to know, so let me tell you exactly why I'm visiting with you and what I'm going to do. My job is to go over some no-cost benefits that have already been set up for you. Then I'm going to go over some additional benefits that you might qualify for. So, my company, American Income, works with over 20,000 different local labor unions, credit unions, and associations throughout the United States. And look, whether you like unions or you don't, the thing everyone agrees on is that they have the best benefits. A big reason for that is because of their relationship with American Income for the past 60 plus years. So, as you can imagine, they have me running around like crazy. So, let me go ahead and get started and jump into the no cost benefits first. Joe, Mary, your first no-cost benefit is the Child Safe ID Kit mobile app, which is endorsed by the International Union of Police Associations. I'm sure you know a bunch of families with kids, right? Did you know that Texas leads the nation in abductions? Did you know that 93% of children that aren't found in the first 24 hours are never found? That's why they decided to create the most comprehensive app of its kind to help find a missing child. Imagine if your child went missing. Can you see how important this would be? Being the endorsed company by the International Union of Police Associations, they are asking that you refer at least 5 families for this app. You mentioned you knew families and children with children, and everyone always wants to put down dozens of people. Let's just start with the people close to you. Who's the first that comes to your mind? Joe, Mary, this is your next no cost benefit, the free will and testament kit that you requested. Have you had the chance to establish a final will and testament? In the United States, a simple will can cost up to $1,000 or more, depending on how complex it is. The Free Will Kit program partnered with American Income to distribute these kits at no cost to you because of the company's reputation and history of helping families. Let me review the Free Will Kit with you. It's important that once you get the kit filled out, you follow all the instructions and keep it in a safe place. Joe and Mary, this is the no cost AIL Plus discount card. How are your benefits through work? You're going to absolutely love this. I'm sure you know by now that you can't rely on approved benefits since you don't control them and they can make a change at any time. So this no-cost benefit will help with some of those gaps by giving you up to the 85% discount on things like dental, vision, prescription drugs, hearing aids, telemedicine, and chiropractic services. Your membership requires an annual renewal, and that's also at no cost to you. We'll let you know when it's time to renew. You won't even have to think about it. People always tell me that they didn't think they'd use it very much, but find themselves using it all the time. Again, at no cost, it's good to get the extra peace of mind. You'll receive an activation email within the next few days, so be on the lookout for that. This is the no-cost accidental death and dismemberment certificate. Joe, this is a living benefit that pays you $2,000 for the loss of one hand, one foot, or sight in one eye, and double that amount, or $4,000, to the loss of any two. Mary, for you, this is a death benefit that would pay you $4,000 should Joe die accidentally. Now, I know that $4,000 doesn't seem like the money and all the money in the world, and really it's not. But if Joe were to die, his paycheck would die with him. And I'd imagine that would put a crunch on your budget, wouldn't it? So you can see how this would definitely help, right? Let me go ahead and email you a certificate for your records. You'll receive a green certificate in the mail, and you want to fill it out completely and send it to the P.O. box at the top to ensure that you are covered. One more thing I need to do is to put 2 emergency contacts on here in the event you were to die together in a common accident. It would be wise if they live in Texas and over the age of 18, living outside your home. Who's the first emergency contact? For a second? Now, when something happens, you're going to need our local office number. Can you grab your phone for me real quick? Okay. The office number is 832-327-0800. So your family gets the money they're entitled to. I'm going to be calling your emergency contacts personally so they know what to do in the event of a claim. If you could, please give them a heads up that they'll be hearing from me. In addition, if they choose, they will also have access to this thanks to you. Now, Joe, this policy is just on you, but the second part of this benefit is that you can extend this to your closest family members and friends at no cost to you or them. So, how this works, let's say, God forbid, Cheryl were to die in an accident. A $2,000 policy, just like yours, will pay out to her family at no cost to you or them. All you're doing is giving them the option to take advantage of this, just like you did. The ability to extend this is tied to my visit with you today because of your enrollment period. So it's important not to prejudge anyone's situation. Let them decide for themselves. Now, they give you $20,000 worth of this benefit, which means you can extend it up to 10 families. Obviously, your emergency contacts will automatically be included. So Cheryl and Bobby are already taken care of. That leaves you with 8 more. You mentioned that you had a couple friends and coworkers. Let's get this to them. What is a first name? How do you spell that? Joe. Make sure you give the families you extended the no-cost benefits to a call or text, letting them know that I'll be calling them in the next few days. As long as they have a heads up, they're really happy. But if I call them and they don't know who I am or why I'm calling, sometimes they get confused and they'll be upset with both of us. So please, please, please let them know. Can you make sure? Joe and Mary. Now I'm going to jump into reviewing the exclusive benefits that you must qualify for. All of the families that I see love this part of the program, and it's why 20,000 different groups handpicked American Income to handle their permanent and portable benefits for the past 60 plus years. Next time you're at your group, make sure you thank them for getting this set up for you. First, let's start with the needs analysis software. The reason most people don't have the right coverage is they don't know what they need. In a few minutes, and after I review this with you, you will definitely know where you're at. I'm going to ask you a few questions to see where you're at. Now, before I do, let me show you my license information here in the state of Texas. So you know I'm a licensed professional to handle these kinds of benefits. And before I jump into the survey, I have 3 preliminary qualifications to review with you. You must be a member of an authorized group or sponsored by someone who is. You must have an active checking account with a bank or credit union. And have you or anyone in the household been diagnosed with COVID-19 virus in the past? And if so, when? The biggest concern families deal with when it comes to handling the concerns is affordability. They have this set up where if there are concerns, it would be based off of 1 hour's wage per week. To make sure it's accurate, what is the ballpark figure of your monthly income? Joe and Mary, I know this isn't a typical dinner time type of conversation, but have you two decided or even discussed if you're going to do a funeral or a cremation? Now I see lots of families, and some of them will get life insurance outside of work because you know what happens to the group benefits, right? Okay. Do you have life insurance outside of work? Okay, that's perfect. How much coverage and how much do you pay for it? When do you get it? Great, I know exactly what that is. Do you get death benefits through work? Okay, great. I'm very familiar with how they work. Did they let you pick them out, or did you just get what everyone else got, normal? Do you rent or own? What's the balance on the own? What's the balance on the home? Sorry. About how much debt aside from the house would you say you have? Have you started saving for your kids' college education yet? Okay, great. Before I go any further, it looks like the needs analysis found some gaps in your coverage. So I have this mandatory read-off letter for you. It explains how the enrollment process works. Joe and Mary, instead of reading this whole thing, let me just summarize it for you. What it's basically saying is that if, as I'm going through the benefits, you're nodding your head thinking, wow, these are some great benefits, and I can see why 20,000 groups approved this and why everyone's doing it, then I'm going to go ahead and ask you to apply today. On the flip side, if I'm going through the benefits and you're thinking to yourself, you know, these really are some great benefits, but they don't fill a need for me and my family right now, then I'm actually going to ask you not to apply. Either way, yes or no, that decision does have to be made today during your service period in fairness to all the other members waiting to enroll. You'll see what they did is they set it up to be a no-brainer. It's going to be as easy as yes or no. Does that make sense? Whatever you decide to do, They do want you to give your opinion in a Google review. Sorry, in a Google review, which is sort of like my report card. I try to get a 5-star rating every time, so it's important to stop me if you have any questions. Does that make sense? Joe, will you stop me if you have any questions? Mary, will you do the same? As you know, over the years, we go through contract negotiations and benefit changes at work. It's give and take. Lately, it seems like we are paying a lot more, but getting a lot less. The company has a labor advisory board of 50 international union presidents whose main job is to provide the best wages and benefits for their members. From their feedback, along with feedback from members like you, they came up with a list of concerns that apply to all working families, whether they're union or not. The first concern is co-pays, deductibles, and lost wages. Health insurance pays the doctors, but members lose wages due to time off of work and out-of-pocket expenses. The second is funeral and final expenses. Many families don't have $14,000 for final expenses. Funeral homes usually want to get paid right away. The third is paycheck loss. When a member dies, their paycheck usually dies with them. Fourth is mortgage and rent. Families may lose their home after the sudden death of a breadwinner. Fifth is children's protection. Benefits provided through a job are typically not permanent for children, which can create a risk. An unexpected death could jeopardize future educational opportunities for children. The sixth is terminal illness, especially cancer. According to the American Cancer Society, men have a 1 in 2 lifetime chance of developing or dying from cancer, and for women, it's 1 in 3. Medical expenses are the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States. 7 is group benefits. Group benefits are great, but can change at any time. Members lose benefits at retirement or if they experience a long illness before death. And affordability. The cost to take care of all these concerns on the open market is not affordable for many families, and waiting could increase the cost even more. Or potentially, a member may not qualify due to changes in health. The last concern is affordability. Now, to take care of all of these concerns, it's usually just way too expensive. Since we sit down with people making $7 an hour and some making $77 an hour, some are working tons of overtime. Some are retired or laid off. Regardless of the situation, they wanted this to be affordable for everybody. The way they set it up is, Joe, let's imagine your boss comes up to you at work and tells you that because things have been going so well, they would start paying you for 41 hours instead of 40. Now, with that hour, are you going to tell your wife it's time for matching Ferraris? Are you going to call a travel agent and book a dream vacation, start construction on a dream home? Of course not. Now, on the flip side, let's say work's a little slow and your boss comes up to you and tells you that instead of laying you and some of your coworkers off, they would just send everyone home an hour early on Friday. So you'd be working 39 hours instead of 40. Would you have to get rid of your car or cell phone? Cancel your TV subscription? Exactly. The idea that 1 hour isn't going to change your lifestyle. That's why they set it up this way. So let me show you how that 1 hour takes care of your concerns. Joe and Mary. It helps if I use an illustration to show you what's been set up for you. So Joe, let's imagine that you go into work tomorrow. Right now, you're both at job A, which is the job here on the left. And with job A, you have your normal group benefits. With job A, you're making $1,475 per week. Let's say that another job opens up. We'll call this one job B. With job B, you have the same group benefits, same coworkers, same responsibilities, same everything. The only difference is the income. So instead of $1,475 per week, you're making $1,435 per week, which is about 1 hour's wage difference, which, like you said before, wouldn't change anything for you. So they took that hour that didn't mean much, and they decided to put it towards something that would, which is handling these concerns in a very simple and straightforward way. The first benefit covers your entire family due to any sort of accident. Like I said before, health insurance and group benefits are great, but they don't cover everything. This program pays you up to $100 every time you go into a doctor, urgent care, or hospital for any accident or injury, whether that's a bump, a bruise, or a bee sting. If you end up overnight in the hospital, it pays $200 per day, and double that for intensive care, $400 per day. So let's say you have an accident and end up in the hospital for 5 days. By having this in place, it would pay you $1,000 tax-free. Considering that you're not working and making money, this money will help take care of your bills. On top of that, You'll get $10,000 for the loss of a hand, a foot, or sight in one eye and double that, or $20,000 for the loss of any two. The last part of this benefit provides an additional $20,000 to $100,000 accidental death benefit, depending on the type of accident. As you can see, with your current job, none of this is covered. The next concern has to do with your funeral and final expenses. There's a 100% chance that you'll use this one. The Freedom of Choice Certificate will take care of the financial burden so your family doesn't have to. The FOC has already been set up with every funeral home. Your Freedom of Choice certificate is worth $30,000. The funeral home director will simply call the number on the front of the certificate, and American Income will take care of everything for you, including sending the remaining money to your family tax-free. They're using a permanent benefit to fund your freedom of choice. That way, it's there when and not if your family needs it. Mary, on the worst day of your life, can you see how this would make things easier for you and your children? Right? Right now, you don't have anything like this in place. Now, Mary, when something happens to Joe, you're probably going to miss him, right? But after a few weeks go by, aside from missing Joe, what else do you think your family's going to miss? His income, exactly. So, your program provides a total of $100,000 that pays out for any kind of death to take care of this concern. Mary, this would give you and the children, Melissa and John, income every month for 3 years, just like Joe was still there. This gives you time to figure out what you're going to do with your life, your job, and any other insurance money. Right now, as it stands, there is no monthly income replacement. Besides their income, the next thing people want secured for their family is their home. That's exactly why the benefit software is recommending mortgage or rent protection. This program includes $100,000 of coverage for you, Joe. Statistically, if you were to die during the working years, it's probably not going to be a health issue like a stroke or a heart attack. It'd probably be due to an accident. So this is funded by an accidental death benefit to save you money. Right now, with your current job, they aren't going to pay your mortgage. When something happens, right now, with your current job, they aren't going to pay your mortgage when something happens, but this program does. The next concern the benefit software found had to do with your children's future education. Most families I see tell me they want their kids to have the option of going to college. Statistically, the biggest thing that would prevent that is if the kids lost one or both of their parents while they are minors. The benefit software is giving you $100,000 for the college fund, which breaks down to $50,000 for each of your two children. Huge, right? As you can see, right now, you don't have that. Also included is a special $10,000 life insurance plan for all of your children, 18 and younger, that qualify. When they turn 21, they can convert this to 5 times that amount, or $50,000, of permanent life insurance with no health questions. Having this in place may be their key to getting coverage later on, when they may otherwise not be able to qualify. Their current group benefits don't provide anything permanent for your children. Another important feature of this program is that if you are diagnosed with a terminal illness, such as cancer, you can access half of your freedom of choice and income protection benefit while you're alive. They are providing you with $65,000 for this fund. Joe and Mary, this gives you the chance to put your family in the best situation financially if you get the worst news imaginable. The remainder of the benefit would pay out to your family as a death benefit. Your current benefits don't provide anything there. As you can see, they thought of pretty much everything. Unlike your group benefits, which you can lose, these benefits are permanent and portable. So if you leave your job, retire, or leave the union, you keep these. In addition, if you're on qualified layoff, they will cover the benefits for you for 3 months. If you're ever in a situation where you have a qualified strike, it's up to 12 months. This way, you and your family won't lose the benefits when you really need them the most. By the way, you never have to pay that back. Joe and Mary, now that I've reviewed everything with you, I'm sure you can see why 20,000 Groups chose this program above all the others and why more families have our programs than any other companies. Because of the value and the full circle of protection it provides. I mean, Joe, if something were to happen to you, like a bad car accident, your family would receive, let me do some math here, $370,000 tax-free, all for about 1 hour's wage per week. With your current job, there is no guarantee that your family would receive anything at all. So, Joe and Mary, if you went into work tomorrow and you had a choice between job A and job B, which job would you take? Why would you do that if you're making more money over here at job A? That's what everybody says. It's a no-brainer. So everyone wants the benefits, but not everybody can get the benefits. So as I mentioned before, I do have to get you qualified first. So let me run you through these questions and let's see if you can qualify. Okay, I'm not the underwriter, but based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like I should be able to get you qualified for the benefits. This is the QR checklist, which is a mandatory checklist that we review with all of the members. It explains the enrollment process. The first thing the checklist talks about is the way the benefits are handled.